Without further ado, I want to hand over to Gavin Ingham, who is going to be our keynote speaker for today, and he's going to kick off the session before the debates go live. Thank you for your time. Enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sales Revival Conference. It's a delight to be here, and I can't wait to meet people on the website and hear your questions and stuff as we go through the day. Like all of these things, coming along to something like this is not an easy decision to make. We're all really busy. We've got lots of things going on. The economies of the world are shaky, to say the least, and making the decision to come to something like this is a really big decision, because what you are saying to yourself and to everybody is, I am investing, I am committing to invest into myself for 1, 2, or 3 days to make sure that I have the skills that I need, I have the attitude and the mindset that I need, I have the strategies that I need to succeed in today's competitive marketplaces. And that's what's been put here. What's been put here is a bunch of panels and speakers and keynotes to give you those strategies, those mindsets, and those skills. In my first session this morning, I am going to be talking about high performance. I'm going to be talking about how to be the best that you can be. I'm going to be talking about what you need to deliver into the marketplace to ensure that you get the results that you want. But before we do that, a few little words about what I'm looking to do. The first thing I'm looking to do is I'm looking to have a little bit of fun with you all. So I'm going to share a few little stories, a few little ideas. Hopefully they will resonate with you, because I believe that when we're having a little bit of fun, and you'll see this when we run it into the panels as well, we learn the most. I'm going to be seeking to add some value for you. And that's based on, what is it that differentiates top performers? What is it that makes one performer outperform another? Why does one salespeople smash it when another, who seems to have all the tools in their kit bag, doesn't get the results? What is that differentiator? And finally, action. And I think for me, this is the key piece. You know, you can spend 3 days. You can tick off that you've been to the Sales Revival Conference. You can tell everybody, your boss, yourself, or whoever, that you've been to the Sales Revival Conference. But what really matters is the action that you take. What really matters is what you do after you've been here. The things that you do differently, or the things that you stop doing, or the things that you do more consistently. You know, as we go through today, you're gonna see 3 types of things. You're gonna see, number 1, stuff you already know. Number 2, new stuff. And number 3, stuff that you kind of know, but you don't know quite as well. And I think what happens a lot of the time when we come along to development, we come along going, I want something new. I want the new stuff. I want the advanced stuff. I want the master classes in how to do this. But the problem is that for most people, those master classes, that new stuff, that's not what makes the difference. I've been a speaker, a coach, a high performance expert, if you like, for over 20 years now. And I've traveled all around the world. I've given over 3,000 talks to over 300,000 people in over 45 countries. And sometimes, a lot of the time, you get people who make huge leaps in what they do. And obviously what I try and do as a result of that, I ask them, what is the difference that made the difference? What was it? You know, you came to my talk, we did coaching. What made the difference? What was it that allowed you to make that leap? And I really want people to say, hey, Gav, you know, it was those Jedi sales warrior mindset skills that only you know. That's what it was. And that changed everything for me. Sadly, they don't usually say that. They usually say something like, well, Gavin, it was XYZ, something I already knew, something I used to do, but somehow, somewhere in the mists of time, I just stopped doing it. And when I started doing it more consistently again, It made all the difference for me. So for me, rather than walking into the rest of the day asking yourself, do I know this? Ask yourself, do I do this? And if I did do this consistently, what difference would that make for me? Because if you can find that one thing, that one strategy, that one action that if you took it consistently as a result of being here, then that would make your 1, 2, or 3 days worth being here. So let's have the first slide. Can we please, Dale? Brilliant. Great slide. So I don't know about you, but I sometimes have days where from the moment I wake up, I just know it's going to be a bad day. You know the kind of day where you wake up, it's cold, it's wet, it's grey, it's miserable, and you're warm and snuggly under your duvet, and you just want to stay in bed. So you go, snooze. And you lie in bed a little longer and your alarm goes off again. Snooze. Now, I don't know how many times you snooze, but eventually you get to a point where you start to do the maths in your head. Do you do the maths or the math if you're American? You know the maths. What is the latest I can get up and still make my first appointment on time? What is the latest I can get up and still get to work on time? And eventually, feeling a bit miserable and a bit down, you drag yourself out of bed. You skip your shower because you haven't got time anymore. You go down for your breakfast. But unfortunately, when you get there, the milk's gone off, the bread's gone moldy, somebody's eaten the last of the cornflakes. So feeling cold, wet, and miserable and tired and grumpy, you go out to the car and the car won't start. So you're stuck on the bus, the tube, the tram, the train on the way to work, and you get to work. And from the moment you get there, everything goes wrong. Maybe if you're working at home, maybe your internet goes down and you can't do anything. So I just want to give you 10 seconds in your own heads, because I can't see what you're thinking, but I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Do write these down, or at least just stop and do this. Because here's another thing, right? It's easy to go through the rest of the day passively, but passive doesn't win prizes. Passiveness won't get you where you need to be. You need to, look, I've got one. You need to get a pad. You need to get a pen. You need to get your drink, and you need to settle in, right? So write these things down, okay? I want you to write this down. What is the stuff that goes wrong on the days when everything's going wrong? What is the stuff that goes wrong on the days when everything's going wrong? Just going to give you 20 seconds just to write those down. So I know you'll still be writing, but I've asked over 100,000 people this question, 100,000. And they tell me answers like, oh, well, I didn't get any sleep. The kids woke me up in the middle of the night. The dog was howling in the middle of the night. I came down for breakfast and the dog had left me a present on the kitchen floor. No coffee, no toast, stuck in traffic, internet wasn't working, arrive at work to find a problem or staff not turned up. One of my customers rings me up with a problem or an issue. A client turns down one of my proposals. And the interesting thing is these sort of problems, they're very, very common, but we allow them to affect how we are. We allow them to affect our days. But of course, the truth of the matter is this: these things, they're just reality. They're just life. Unfortunately, there is the other kind of day, isn't there? Next slide, please, Dale. The kind of day where you wake up, and from the moment you wake up, you're just like, boom, it is great to be alive. It is fabulous to be alive. And you leap out of bed, singing and dancing. You go for the shower, in the shower, and you go down for your breakfast, and it is all laid out waiting for you, which is strange because you live by yourself. But you eat it anyway, and you go to the computer or the car or whatever, and there's the email from the client letting you down yesterday saying, hey, look, changed my mind. We're back on board. Deal's bigger than ever. And you just go, yes, yes, that is awesome. And from that moment on, you have an amazing day. And it's not that anything is different. All that rubbish, all those problems, they're still out there. It's just you, and you're straight away through them. So one of the most important questions you're going to get asked today, and one of the simplest. So get your sheet of paper and write on it this, right? Top 10 attributes, like that. A4 sheet of paper, if you've got one, big A4 sheet of paper. Top 10 attributes. And what I want you to do is write down, what are the top 10, right? Really big, one sheet of paper. What are the top 10 attributes that you display on one of those amazing days? What are the top 10 attributes you display on one of those amazing days? Now, look, I know you're really tempted, aren't you? You're really tempted to blow your nose, have a look at your email, do something else. Don't. You need to do this. Look, I can't see you. You can see me. I can't see what you're doing. But imagine me standing there going, do it. Because the more you do this stuff today, the more involved you get, the better. So you've got 30 seconds, top 10 attributes. Off you go. It's not long, is it? 30 seconds. But anyway, you've written some words down. So I don't know what you've written. You've got your own list and it'll be unique to you. And that's great. That's how you see yourself when you're at the top of your game. So even before we get into anything else, maybe have a think about how you can deliver more of that. Anyway, again, I've asked over 100,000 people, and they tell me words like positive, motivated, determined, enthusiastic, tenacious, persistent, empathetic and understanding, caring, experts, energetic. Now, look, I don't know what you've got on your list, but I'm guessing words like that from my experience of asking all of these people. So here's another question for you. When you think about those words, when you think about the words you've got written and the words that I said, would you say they're more attitudes? Or would you say they're more skills? Would you say they're attitudes, or would they say they're skills? Dale, next slide, please. I've asked the question. You're not going to be surprised to hear, of over 100,000 people. And the predominant, in fact, the only answer is that it's more attitudes than skills. It's more attitudes than skills. That's not to say that skills aren't important, but people say more attitudes. So the next question is, what percentage attitudes? Now, again, depending on what you call an attitude, on depending what you call a skill, depending what mood you're in on the day, depending on your job, because there is a correlation, will depend what answer you give. I can tell you the average answer is 80% attitude, 20% skill. The lowest attitude answer I've ever been given is 50-50. A lot of people, particularly people who are on the phone cold calling a lot, 90, 95, 90-10, 95-5. I even get the odd person say 100%. Clearly they're wrong, aren't they? Because if you were 100% attitude, that would make you 0% skill, which would make you, right, the most dangerous person to ever walk the floors of your sales floor, right? Because you would be a motivated idiot, right? A motivated idiot. And you probably know one or two. You've probably employed one or two. I know I've employed quite a few, attracted by their attitude, never realized they were a motivated idiot. So I'm not saying skills aren't important. What I am saying is that attitude, next slide, please. Attitude is your ability to access your skill. Attitude is your ability to access your skill, okay? The mindset you are in impacts your behavior, right? So as we go into the next quarter, the next 6 months, the next year, I don't know what's going on. People are talking about this being the longest recession in memory. They're talking about, I mean, that's positive, isn't it? But but what if it is? What is going to make the difference? And the answer is mindset, because your attitude is your ability to access your skill. Next slide, please. Okay. Your attitude affects your behavior. So if you walk into a sales meeting and you feel negative and you expect that your client is going to negotiate, and you know that they're negotiating, and you already think that you are going to have to discount, your attitude is going to affect your behavior. In some cases, massively. You might even not take the action. So the behavior might not even turn up. You might not even ask for the deal. You might not even turn up for the presentation. You might not even make the cold call. You might not even have the conversation with your partner or your child or whatever this difficult situation is, right? But in a lot of occasions, it just affects the behavior more subtly. It affects how you say what you're going to say, or how exactly you position, or maybe it just affects your body language. We've all been in a situation where somebody makes an apology to us, and if you were to pick out the words, the behavior, the words, they're fine, but the attitude behind it, it's actually saying you suck, pal, and you don't accept that apology. And it's the same is true with clients. You can say the right things, you can be in the right place, but if your mindset isn't right, if your attitude isn't right, then your attitude affects your behavior negatively, and the client gets it. And that gets you a bad result. So bad attitude, bad behavior, bad result. But more importantly, all right attitude, all right behavior, all right result. And most importantly, top performer attitude, top performer behavior, top performer result. Next slide, please. But it gets worse than this, because those results, those things that are going wrong, impact the attitude. And then the attitude affects the behavior, and the behavior affects the result. Problem here is that most people are motivated from the outside in. They're motivated from the outside in. So they allow people, they allow events, they allow circumstances to affect the way that they feel. They allow people, events, and circumstances to affect the way that they feel. And that creates this negative spiral. Now, of course, the opposite is true. Next slide, please. When things are going great, your results will motivate your attitude. But the key is this. When we've studied top performers, what we found is that virtually anybody can perform really well when stuff's going well. When you're making the sales, when you're doing the deals, when your clients are being nice to you, when people can all see value, you can deliver the right attitude, you can get the great results, behaviors, and you can get great results. And that creates this positive feedback loop, and things get better and better and better. Where the high performers stand out is when you're on the floor. Where the high performers stand out is when you're counted out, when you're in the last minute of the game, and you alone have to pick it up. You have to get back into the right attitude. And the key with top performers is that they motivate themselves from the inside out. They motivate themselves from the inside out, no matter what is going on in the market, no matter what is going on with their clients, no matter what is going on with their opportunities, no matter what is going on in any situation. They pick themselves up and they get themselves into the right mindset to deliver the right behavior and get the right results. In fact, I like to measure attitude on a scale of 1 to 10. Attitude on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the most inappropriate attitude and 10 is the most important attitude. 1 is the most irrelevant attitude, the worst attitude, the loser attitude, if you like, and 10 is the winning attitude, which means that I think getting the results that you want is all about looking at what is the attitude of a 10? What is the mindset of a 10? What do I need to bring to this situation? How is this going to impact my behaviors? What do those behaviors look like when I'm at a 10? What strategies do I need to deliver on those behaviors when we're at 10? And what results would I get when I'm at 10? So you've got a picture of the whole thing. Think about it this way. I'll give you 3 different situations, 3 scenarios. Number 1, you're making a cold call. What mindset? You know, there's a lot of people like going, cold calling doesn't work anymore. Cold calling is a waste of time. Cold calling is this. Look, I'm not going to get into what, because there's many ways of generating leads. But you cold call with a mindset like that, what do you expect? There's many people, and I've done this loads of times, taught sales managers, sales leaders how to run sales meetings. They don't get the results they want out of them, and they go, yeah, it didn't work. And you go in and you realize that they're walking into those meetings on a 7. You're walking into those meetings on a 6. Never gonna work. If you want your clients to be a 10, you've got to be a 10. Here's an interesting one. Today, if you spend the day on a 7 passively watching, if you spend a day on a 7 going, oh, do I agree with this or don't I don't know, is what Leon says, right? I'm not sure, Marcus. Oh, that's not right. Oh, no. That's going to affect your behavior. In this case, your behavior is going to be listening. Your behavior is going to be thinking about how you're going to apply it. You need to be a 10. Open, honest, determined to get something out of this. Focused on asking yourself, do I use this? And if I did, what difference would it make? You've got to be focused on those behaviors. What do I need to learn? How am I going to apply it? How is it going to make a difference? Because then you will get the results that you want out of the next 2 or 3 days. And that is what being a 10 is all about. It's all about being the best you can be. Next slide, please. Okay, so attitude is your ability to access your skill. Good enough is not good enough anymore. In difficult times, you need to be the best. You need to be the shining beacon that attracts people. You need to be the person of positivity, the person who brings value, the person who positions themselves as a partner, not the person who turns up begging for a deal because they're a bit desperate, not the person who turns up trying to make their quarterly quota, not the person who turns up shoving information in the face, the person who turns up determined to understand their business in a way that no one else does, and add value in a way that no one else can, and to present solutions that absolutely are tip top for what they need right now. Good enough is not good enough. You need to be doing the best, and then your clients will want to work with you, because people do business, particularly in difficult times. People do business with the best. They're not interested in second rate. They're not interested in stuff that's not as good. So you need to be a 10. You need to motivate yourself from the inside out. Let's have a look at the next slide, please. So here is a little strategy that I use every single day. This is a strategy that I have taught to high performers, from salespeople on the dance floor, from salespeople on the dance floor doing the boogie, to sales leaders, to managing directors, CEOs, C-suite. Okay, and it's very, very simple. It's a simple morning exercise. With this, if you love all of the things you do now, you can throw them out. But this can change your life, literally, not just your business, not just your sales, your life. And I say that without any hint of irony or any hint of joke. It really can. And I love it when people come back to me afterwards and say, I've doubled my sales, I've changed my relationship, I'm in a bigger house, I'm now the MD of the business. I love that. And oftentimes it comes down to this one simple question. So here you go. Every morning, at some point early in the morning, I do it in the shower. I should have that on a t-shirt. Ask yourself this question. How can I be a 10 today? How can I be a 10 today? How can I be a 10 today? When you ask yourself that question, then imagine 3 critical moments. They don't even have to be work. I would certainly make one work, one sales. So maybe imagine yourself being a 10, making those cold calls, getting those successes. See yourself doing it. Maybe imagine yourself having that quality time with your partner. Maybe imagine yourself, and maybe do this between the 2 little sessions now. Imagine yourself being a 10 in the Sales Revival Conference for the next 3 days and getting what you want to get out of it. Because when you do that, when you see yourself being a 10, when you see yourself delivering on those behaviors, when you see yourself getting those results, that starts to become a reality for you. And when you do it every day, you start to build those neural pathways of high performance. You start seeing what high performance looks like. You see what it feels like. You see what it looks like. You see what you need to do, and you see what you need to the results. Clearly, there's more to it than that. But that is an amazing starting point. And just on that simple piece, you can make a huge difference. So here's the thing. At this point, up till about 10 years ago, I used to do an amazingly big wind up. I used to persuade you and tell a story and move everybody about. And then one day I just realized you've already made your mind up. You've already made your mind up. Are you going to allow yourself to be motivated inside out? Or are you going to take responsibility for your own mindset, your own attitude? Are you going to take responsibility for getting yourself to a 10? You've already decided whether you are going to be a 10, whether you're going to ask yourself, how can I be a 10? Whether you're going to apply strategies to the situation to make sure that you be a 10. If you are, tuck into the next session because it's an amazing session. And I also hope to see you at my session later on today at 12:30, where I'm going to be sharing 3 of the core building blocks of being a 10 and how they can help you to get more. So that's it for me for this session. All that remains for me to say is have an absolutely amazing day and be a 10.